His wife gave birth to a white baby, and he left her 3 years later. DNA revealed the unimaginable. Julia, a stunning black woman, fell in love with Nathan, a charming white man, after they met at a mutual friend's party. Their connection was instant. They spent hours talking, dancing, and exchanging numbers before parting ways. Over the next few months, their relationship blossomed as they went on romantic dates, traveled, and introduced each other to their families. After 2 wonderful years of dating, Nathan proposed, and Julia joyfully accepted. Their wedding was a beautiful celebration surrounded by loved ones, filled with heartfelt vows and promises for the future. A year later, Julia discovered she was pregnant, and both were thrilled at the prospect of starting a family together. However, when their baby was born, shock rippled through their lives. The child was white, while Julia was black. Nathan was bewildered and immediately accused Julia of infidelity, unable to comprehend the situation. Despite her desperate attempts to explain, he packed his bags and left, convinced of her betrayal. Julia was left heartbroken and alone, grappling with the sudden upheaval of her dreams for their family. The love they once shared now seemed a distant memory. Julia was devastated. She loved Nathan with all of her heart and would never cheat on him. She was heartbroken that he didn't believe her and abandoned her when she needed him the most. She had to raise the baby alone, and it was a difficult task, but she was determined to be a good mother and give their baby all the love and care he needed. For 3 years, Julia raised her baby boy on her own. She worked hard to provide for him and never lost hope that Nathan would come back to her someday. She missed him every day and wished that he would believe her and trust her. One day, Julia decided to get a DNA test to prove to Nathan that he was the father of their baby. She went to a clinic and they took a sample of their baby's DNA. A few days later, the results came back and they were shocking. The DNA test revealed that Nathan was not the biological father of their baby. Julia was stunned. She couldn't believe what she was reading. She had never cheated on Nathan, and she didn't know how this was possible. She went back to the clinic and asked them to run the test again, but the results were the same. Julia was devastated. She didn't know what to do. She loved her baby with all her heart, but she couldn't understand how he was white. She didn't know who the biological father was, and she didn't know how to tell Nathan. One day, Julia decided it was time to confront Nathan and reveal the truth. She called him, asking to meet at a park. When Nathan arrived, he was taken aback to see both Julia and their son, feeling a pang of regret for leaving them. Taking a deep breath, Julia shared the truth about the DNA test, explaining that Nathan was not the biological father and assuring him she had never cheated. Nathan was shocked, struggling to process her words and feeling guilt for doubting her. Julia showed him the test results and he was stunned. As she cried, begging for forgiveness and expressing her enduring love, Nathan felt torn. He loved Julia but needed time to process this revelation. Understanding his need for space, Julia allowed him to think things through, hoping he would ultimately return to her. Days turned into weeks, and Julia didn't hear from Nathan. She was worried that he had made up his mind and decided to move on without her. But one day, Nathan called her and asked her to meet him for dinner. Julia was nervous, but she agreed to meet him. When they met, Nathan apologized for not believing her and abandoning her. He told her that he loved her and wanted to be with her and their son. He said that he had done some soul-searching and realized that he couldn't let go of his love for her. Julia was overjoyed. She couldn't believe that Nathan had come back to her. She forgave him for leaving her and promised to love him and their son forever. They hugged each other tightly, and Julia felt like everything was going to be all right. After that day, Nathan moved back in with Julia and their son. They started their life together again, and it was as if nothing had ever happened. They were happy and in love, and they raised their son as a team. Years went by, and their son grew up to be a happy and healthy child. He didn't know about the DNA test or the doubts that his parents had. He only knew that he was loved by both parents, and that was all that mattered. One day, when their son was 12 years old, Julia decided to tell him the truth about his biological father. She sat him down and explained everything to him. She told him that he was not Nathan's biological son, but it didn't change the fact that he was loved and cherished by both of his parents. Their son was shocked, but he didn't seem to care. He hugged Julia and Nathan and told them that he loved them both. He said that they were his parents, and that was all that mattered. Julia and Nathan were relieved. They had been worried that their son would be devastated by the news, but he had taken it in stride. They knew that they had raised him well and that he had a strong sense of family and love. As the years passed, Julia and Nathan grew old together, facing numerous challenges but never losing their love. They cherished every moment they shared. One day, Julia peacefully passed away in her sleep, leaving Nathan heartbroken yet comforted by the belief that she was in a better place, watching over him and their son. After her death, Nathan decided to take a DNA test to confirm his son's biological paternity, seeking closure on his doubts. He submitted a sample and awaited the results, which were shocking. Nathan was indeed the biological father. Overwhelmed with emotion, he realized he had misjudged their love and felt guilt for doubting Julia. Although he couldn't change the past, he resolved to honor her memory and cherish the time they had together, knowing she had loved him deeply. Nathan shared the DNA test results with his son, and they were both shocked. Their son was confused and didn't understand how the result could be wrong. Nathan explained that sometimes DNA tests can be flawed, but they had no doubt that he was their son. They hugged each other tightly, and Nathan promised his son that he would always be there for him, no matter what. He knew that he had made mistakes in the past, but he was determined to make it right. In the years that followed, Nathan and his son developed a deep bond, united by their shared love for Julia and the cherished memories of their time together. They often reminisced about the joyful moments as a family, keeping her spirit alive in their conversations. To honor Julia's memory, Nathan began volunteering at a local charity supporting single mothers and their children, hoping to give back to the community in a way that would make her proud. As time passed, Nathan's son grew into a successful young man, graduating from college and launching his own business. Nathan beamed with pride, knowing Julia would have celebrated these milestones with them. On the day of his son's wedding, Nathan felt an overwhelming sense of joy, grateful that his son had found someone who loved him deeply, someone Julia would have adored. During the wedding reception, Nathan's son delivered a heartfelt speech expressing gratitude for Nathan's unwavering support, even during moments of doubt about his paternity. He highlighted how Nathan embodied the true meaning of love and family. Moved to tears, Nathan embraced his son, acknowledging his past mistakes while cherishing their renewed bond. As the evening progressed, Nathan danced with his son's new wife, reflecting on their journey as a family. He felt Julia's presence in every moment, knowing she was watching over them. Ultimately, Nathan realized that love transcended doubt and fear. He felt blessed to have shared a life with Julia, and the revelation of their son's paternity, though shocking, had deepened their connection. As the reception drew to a close, Nathan gazed up at the stars and whispered a heartfelt thank you to Julia, confident that her love would continue to guide him and his family for the rest of their lives.